13 terrifying anime for horror fans everywhere. As we work our way through the spookiest time of year, it's easy for our thoughts to turn toward all manner of ghosts, ghouls, and goblins. So dim the lights, cuddle up with a mug of your favorite seasonal beverage, and let's get spooky. At number 1 we have Ghost Hunt. Ghost Hunt follows the paranormal mysteries solved by the Shibuya Psychic Research Team, a ragtag group of psychics, spiritualists, and paranormal research enthusiasts investigating unexplained supernatural phenomena all over Japan. The series balances light and darkness expertly, pairing tense and eerie ghost stories with a fun, engaging, and sometimes bizarre cast of characters. The two main characters, Mai and Kanzuya, have strong personalities and bounce off of each other well as they encounter haunted dolls, cursed classrooms, and an Australian guy named John. All equally frightening things. At number 2 we have xxXHOLIC. Best episodes of xxXHOLIC feel like listening to someone tell a ghost story by candlelight in a dark room. In fact, that's the premise of one of the show's scariest episodes. xxXHOLIC follows a teenage boy named Watanuki who makes a curious deal with a witch named Yuko. If he works for her at her mystical shop, she will take away his ability to see spirits, a talent which has brought him untold grief and frustration over the years. At number 3 we have Zombieland Saga. 10 years after her death, high school student Sakura Minamoto suddenly wakes up, brought back as a zombie, along with 6 other girls from various points in Japan's history. They have all been revived by Kotaro Tatsumi, a mysterious man who plans to shape them into an all-zombie idol group that will bring life and glory to the Saga prefecture. There's the occasional bit of body horror due to the girls' undead status, but overall the show is charming and sweet, packed with catchy songs and lovable characters who've got a whole lot of heart even if theirs aren't beating anymore. At number 4 School Live. Slice of life meets zombie apocalypse in the deceptively cute School Live. Yuki Yukiya and her friends run the School Living Club, a group dedicated to improving life at their school for all students. Except, all is not as it seems. The girls are hiding out in their school as a zombie outbreak rages on outside, doing their best to carve out a safe and comfortable life for themselves in the face of imminent death. Unable to cope with the reality of what is happening, Yuki has retreated into a fantasy world, imagining their day-to-day activities as charming and mundane rather than the desperate bid for survival that they actually are. At number 5 we got Another. There is something terribly wrong happening at Yomiyama Middle School. When Koichi Sakakibara transfers into his new class there, he and a mysterious girl named Mei encounter a gruesome mystery. People at school, particularly those related to their class, keep dying in a variety of horrific freak accidents. There are falling sheets of glass, malfunctioning elevators, and a particularly infamous incident involving an umbrella in the wrong place at the wrong time. As Koichi digs deeper into the curse on Class 9-3, he discovers that there is far more at work than simple bad luck. Death itself may be taking his classmates out one by one, and if he doesn't act quickly, he might be next. At number 6 Yamishibai, Japanese Ghost Stories. When it comes to horror anime, Yamishibai is something truly special. Told in bite-sized episodes animated to imitate the Japanese storytelling form of kamishibai, or paper play, each 5-minute short recounts a different myth or legend. Though the episodes go by quickly, there are over 115 to choose from, and because there is no chronological story, you can skip around to whichever stories sound the most intriguing. Each episode is compelling and scary in its own way, but some standouts include Farewell Confession, Museum of Taxidermy, Wrong Number, Night Bus, and Tormentor. At number 7 Paranoia Agent. If you're familiar with the work of Satoshi Kon, you probably already know that he is a master of psychological horror, frightening and disturbing audiences with brilliant animated films like The Twisted, Beautiful Perfect Blue. His 13-episode anime Paranoia Agent captures the same frantic, disorienting horror that Kon is known for in his features, focusing on a series of seemingly unrelated attacks by a strange boy wielding a baseball bat. It's an ensemble piece, focusing on the various victims as well as the detectives covering the case, but the real star of the show is paranoia itself, and what can happen to a community when fear takes over. At number 8 we have Monster. Sometimes the scariest monsters aren't zombies, spirits, or ancient curses. Sometimes they're just seemingly ordinary people with a capacity for acts of unimaginable evil. Monster revolves around Kenzo Tenma, a Japanese surgeon living in Germany. He is faced with a difficult choice one day on the job, forced to decide whether he will leave an ongoing surgery to save the mayor's life, or prioritize the young boy he is already treating. He chooses to save the boy, but no good deed goes unpunished. Years later, Dr. Tenma's life is turned upside down by a series of deaths connected to the very boy he saved, now a serial killer named Johann Liebert. What follows is a tense push and pull between the two men as Dr. Tenma tries to defend himself and reckon with the fact that he helped keep this monster alive in the first place. Number 9. Shiki. There's never anything good going on when the residents of a small, isolated town begin dying mysteriously. Like, it's never just a fun, silly prank that all turns out to be fine in the end. In Shiki, the town of Sotoba is distraught after a series of mysterious deaths, which just so happened to coincide with a reclusive new family moving into a mansion on top of a hill in town. Nothing suspicious about that. A local doctor suspects a new disease is the culprit, but it turns out to be something far more supernatural, malicious, and vampiric. Number 10. Hellgirl. If you could send someone to hell just by typing their name into a text box on a mysterious, unassuming website, would you do it? What would it take for you to seek that kind of high-stakes demonic revenge? This is the premise of Hellgirl, in which the desperate and vengeful can punish those that they feel wronged by for a price. Once someone has damned another person, they've sealed the deal on their own soul, too. Number 11. Higurashi. When They Cry. When They Cry is infamous for its shocking violence and abrupt tonal shifts, veering from a relatively light-hearted coming-of-age story with a bit of mystery, to shocking, stomach-churning horror. Like Keiichi, the viewer is sucked down into the cesspool of death and madness that is Hinamizawa, each arc of the story carrying them deeper into the chaos, the conspiracy, and a mind-bending mystery that is far more expansive and dangerous than anyone can know. It's a well-told story filled with truly impactful twists and turns, but I wasn't kidding about the violence, physical and psychological. Don't mess around with this one if you have a weak stomach. Or any anxiety around, trauma to someone's fingernails. Number 12. Hellsing, Ultimate. Hellsing, Ultimate isn't the first adaptation of the manga that serves as its source material, but many fans regard it as the best and the scariest. The 10-episode series takes place in an alternate history where one of the only things standing between humanity and bloodthirsty monsters like vampires and ghouls is Hellsing, an English organization led by Integra Fairbrook Wingate's Hellsing. Integra and her group have many weapons at their disposal, but their greatest is Alucard, a rare vampire that fights on behalf of humanity and against his fellow creatures of the night. At last we got 13 Corpse Party, Tortured Souls. If you consider yourself too squeamish for the likes of When They Cry, then you should probably run in the opposite direction of Corpse Party. Probably while screaming. If the title didn't give it away, Corpse Party is a pretty intense watch. When one of their members is about to transfer schools, a group of friends perform a ritual to bind them all together and strengthen their friendships. It goes horribly wrong, however, and transports them to Heavenly Host Elementary School, an abandoned school haunted by the spirits of its murdered students. Just girly things. This is no apparition-laden funhouse jumpscare fest, but a disturbing tale of trauma and tragedy that goes to some truly depraved places.